behind the scenes, going to our new villa. This is like the old real life behind the scenes of my Bali life. In this video, I'm going to show you how I ended up in Bali, what I'm doing here, and how I manifested all of this for myself. Looking good? Hopefully, yeah. Finally ready. Okay, now they're like talking outside and there is like construction work going on. I'm going to do more and more videos and really sharing about the topic of law of attraction and how it really works, because I find that there are so many misconceptions out there and there are so many frustrated people. I even had a woman not a long time ago, she asked me on Instagram and she was like, Linda, can you please help me? I'm doing the water test, I'm doing... And she gave me like, she named different techniques and I was like, I've never heard of them. I have no idea what it is that you're talking about. And it just made me realize, because she was really frustrated and she truly wanted the results of the law of attraction, and it made me feel even more convinced about how extremely important it is that we talk about this topic, and that you also get to understand that it's not complicated. It's really simple, actually. Well, it's not simple to do. Like, it is simple to do once we learn how to do it, but there are just a few things we gotta understand, and that is the law of vibration is about energies. It's about frequency. It's not about the thoughts that we are thinking, because I used to be a super positive thinker, and still I was living a life that I, like, behind the surface, I just felt so stuck. So that is what I didn't understand in the beginning. I was like, or not in the beginning, I mean the majority of my journey, I did not understand it. I was like, everybody's talking about you have to have the positive attitude and you have to stay positive and you have to be very careful with what you say and how you speak and everything. You know, I really was, but still I kept feeling trapped. I kept feeling stuck. I was in that life, I had a vision board. Like, I had created that beautiful home that I was living in together with my ex-husband. We had this beautiful home that we had created. We had a sports car. He was a professional ice hockey player, and you know, everything I think looked very nice, and the life was probably really nice, but it never felt like my life. It literally felt that I was living somebody else's life. Before moving to that city with him, before I met him, I was a journalist. Like, I knew from a very young age, I was like, I'm going to be a journalist. And I think that was like, I used to love to write, so I think that was kind of the base of why I wanted to be a journalist. But I also thought that was a very, like, for the ego, like, that was high. I looked up to people who were journalists and I was like, yeah, they're really cool and they can probably make an impact, but I felt it more like they were cool, so I also wanted to be a very cool person, very important person. So that's how I developed that thing about becoming a journalist, I think. So when I met him, my ex-husband, I was only like, I think I was 22 or something, and I was hanging out on the red carpet. I was interviewing celebrities, and I just felt like my ego felt really good about the lifestyle I had, I was like, not many people in my age get to do this. And I got to write about it, which I loved. So I felt like super, super important. But it came with the anxiety. Like, I woke up so many mornings and I called in sick because I just didn't like to be there. Like, I loved to tell people about my work that I was doing and that I was hanging out with celebrities and interviewing them and all of that. I really loved telling people about it, but for kind of the purpose of feeling better myself. But the truth is that I didn't feel good. I had anxiety before I went to those things. I was so stressed out because I was so afraid of not delivering enough. I never felt enough. So some mornings, as I said, I called in sick because I literally woke up and I felt so dizzy and I just almost couldn't stand up. And that didn't feel good. And I remember it was summer when I was working, like so many people had vacation, but it was this particular day I was working and I was taking the tube back home after work, and I think the time was maybe like 5 or 6 p.m. And I think I had people asking me like, do you want to go out? And I was like, no, I want to go home, because my sense was that I wanted to go home so I could go to bed early so that I could wake up and perform the day after. So I was so extreme. I was living my whole life just so fear-based. So I remember like sitting on that tube, and the tube was driving over a bridge with water underneath, like the sea, and on that sea, like just underneath the bridge, my parents had their sailing boat. Like, they were out sailing with the boat, but normally that was like the home of the sailing boat. And I remember thinking, I was like, I just want to be free. I just want to be free. I just wish that I could get off this tube right now and just walk down there, go to the boat and just take off and just be on the boat with the feeling of being free. That was my biggest wish, that I could just be free. Because it didn't really resonate with me working for somebody else. It didn't resonate with me having to perform all the time, having anxiety, being so afraid of doing something wrong. So when I met the man who later became my husband, it felt like he came and saved me. I could move to his city. He had a good income, and that kind of helped me to just relax. I was like, okay, I'm gonna do my own magazine. I'm gonna interview celebrities myself, and I'm gonna do this in my way. But the thing is that I moved there with him, and it was even actually a newspaper that did an interview with me, and they said like, this is the woman who actually moved from the big city to this small town to make her career. Because normally people would move away from that little town to the big city, to Stockholm, the capital where I was from, to make their career. But I did the opposite. But it was really, I never shared my truth, but my truth was that I felt so stressed out from anxiety, from performance anxiety in the big city. So coming to this small village, I just felt there was no pressure. People didn't have that kind of high goals. There were other things that were more important. People more had the feeling of family, you know, having a family very early, and it was just totally different vibe. And it resonated with me because I just needed to feel like safe and secure, because I didn't. So I started my magazine. It actually went very well. So I had these incredible interviews, and I had a lot of people actually working for me for free. And they were like all agreed with me that when the magazine took off and we were making money, then they would get their salary. So everybody was fine with that. And now when looking back, I was like, wow, this is incredible how I managed to pull that off. Having so many people working there. We even, like, I had a stylist, I had a photographer, I had a studio, I had celebrities, especially one celebrity that I was like, oh my goodness, she's coming to my studio. And all these people are working like to fix her and stuff. And then she gave me like hair tips and stuff. She was like, oh, this is how you can do your hair, Linda, blah, blah, blah. So I was so proud of myself doing that. But it didn't take long until I started to just feel more and more depressed. I had really, since my since my husband, he was a professional hockey player, in that little village, I really became somebody's girlfriend. I was not me. Like, I honestly, I don't know exactly how it happened, but I lost my identity very, very fast. I became somebody else's girlfriend. And I started to, I just lost all the motivation to do anything with the magazine. I just dropped that. And I started to work at H&M. And my whole head were like, I have this journalist, like this master in journalism. I can do better. And now I'm working at H&M, like in the cashier and just hanging clothes. And I could probably feel like how my life was starting to go in a direction that I didn't like. And I remember specifically one morning, it's nothing wrong to work in H&M, definitely not. I love H&M, but it just didn't resonate with how I wanted to live my life and my lifestyle and how much money I wanted to make and all of that. So I remember this specific morning, I was walking to work, and I had like a little lake on my side. It was early morning, and it was like this crispy, super fresh air. And again, I had that same feeling. I was like, I just wanted this freedom. I want this freedom of creating my life the way I want it. I don't want to have a boss. And I literally felt that I was living somebody else's life. I was like, this is a beautiful life that I'm living, but it's not my life. Can you relate with that? I've never heard really anybody else say that. So if you can relate, please let me know in the comments below. We could chat about it, because that was a very, very strange feeling. But I heard myself throughout the years, I heard myself saying that. And then we started to travel, like we started to, because of his ice hockey, so he got contracts in different places. We started to travel. We lived in Italy for a while, for example. And that was really, really awesome, that experience, except that now I didn't even have the job. Like, so I was my own leading lady, which was to have a super cool career that I really loved, or my head loved it, even though I had anxiety. And then I started my magazine, which was really cool, but then I got depressed, started working H&M, and now moving to Italy, I didn't have a job either, like no job, zero. And at that time, like, I had this network marketing company, so I was like, okay, I'm gonna do the network marketing company. But no, I didn't make any money while we were in Italy, and we were there for like, I think 3 months, and it was this constant stress of having no money on my own, and his salary wasn't that good either, so he was also super stressed about money. And that was really my experience with living abroad, and it was this like constant stress, and I didn't want to tell anybody because I was too proud of telling anybody my truth, how I really felt. So when my parents or somebody else would ask me like, Linda, how are you doing? And I was like, oh, everything is perfect, and I'm living this awesome life in the Alps in Italy, you know, loving every second of it. While my truth was that sometimes I just felt that I couldn't even go to sleep because I was so worried about my future. I was so worried about how to actually even survive throughout the day because I was so stressed about the money. And sometimes I think that we are faced with different challenges so that we can wake up. It really felt that, because as I was living that life, I felt so much as a victim. And then we got married, and we had this like super beautiful 3-day wedding. It was really beautiful, and I don't even know how we got the money to that, but one way we did. But after that, it was kind of obvious that we should have a child, and it just didn't work. I thought I was pregnant the first month, but then no, I wasn't. And I wasn't 1 year after that either. Not 2 years, not 3 years, not 4 years, not 5 years, after like trying every single month. So I really like, why did I say that I think that we are like faced with challenges because of a reason. This whole infertility thing, it led me to search for answers. We were now back in Sweden, and I was working in a little shop that I absolutely hated. I felt so ashamed of working in that shop, and I was also having the network marketing company. And when I had a network marketing company, I don't know if you were aware, but you build a team and you're the leader of a team, and that's what I was. And in order to encouraging other people, you have to be really motivated yourself, right? And excited. And I knew that, but my truth was that I wasn't, because I hated what I was doing. But I wanted the result, I wanted the freedom, and I wanted the money. But so I really felt that it was totally opposite of my truth, because I had to put on this persona that everything is fine, and yes, we're making a lot of money, and you should come and join this too. So I was working in this small little shop, and it was going under. It felt like my life, actually, that shop. It was a small little shop just outside the big supermarket, like with jewelries and cheap jewelries and like handbags and stuff. And the boss that I had, he never told me anything. So it felt like they were always having different sales and nothing on the shelves, kind of. So it felt like the whole thing was just falling apart. And I asked him, I was like, what is going on? Are you going to close down? But he was like, no, we don't know. Never told me anything. So at that time, the first I think 2 years, I just felt like a super big victim when I was working in there. And I was like, I'm worth so much better than this, and why am I doing this? And really that victim mentality. But then I started to understand. I was like, what if I could actually use this time for something productive? What if I can learn something while I'm here? So I started to Google a lot of things. So I started to use kind of 8 hours every single day, because I didn't have any customers, right? So I started to use kind of 8 hours every single day to just Google. I was like, how to get pregnant naturally, how to eat for better fertility, like everything. I started to Google it, and I was not in the right vibration. I wasn't ready for the answers, so I couldn't see them. So I just saw all the physical stuff, like change your diet, use hormones, like all these different things. I saw them, but it must have been that I was not ready to see the truth. It may have been right in front of my eyes, but I wasn't ready for it. And then, like, yeah, I kept Googling for like 4 years, and I felt kind of I think encouraged that I was actually able to Google things, and I learned and I tried a lot, but nothing really gave results, right? I wasn't getting pregnant, and nothing really happened until I found a woman talking about the subconscious mind. She was like, if you have a subconscious block, that is telling you, your mind, that it's not good for you to get pregnant, you're not gonna get pregnant. And I was like, oh my gosh, what if I have a subconscious block? And then I realized that my mind had a million different fears regarding fertility and regarding pregnancy, regarding being a parent. Like, my whole feeling was that I wanted to be free, but my mind had a massive connection with having kids as being stuck, because that was kind of the parents and families that I had seen before, parents who were totally stuck, and they were living a life that was my biggest nightmare. Because I said, when I was a kid, I was like, I'm not gonna live a normal life. I hate normal lives. I don't want to like have that. I want to have a big life. I want to like abundant life. So when I found that subconscious reprogramming thing, that it was actually possible to reprogram the subconscious mind, I started to listen to a hypnotic audio telling my mind to increase the fertility. Within 3 weeks, my ovulation started. It's like, oh my gosh. I saw a physical result in my body that something was actually working. I remember that morning so well. It's like I'm even lighting it up, because it felt that like I have not got pregnant, so I don't know what it feels like doing the pregnancy test and see a positive result, but I can just imagine. And I think that was exactly how I felt when I saw the positive ovulation result. I was the happiest woman on earth. It felt like that, and I was just jumping upside down in the bathroom, running into my husband and just sharing with him like I got ovulation. So I think that was my biggest shift. It really shifted everything for me. And sorry, right now there